Marley, thank you for breaking the rules. Good evening and welcome to the City of Roswell special called Mayor and City Council meeting for August the 7th. December the 18th, 2023. That's hilarious. All right, let me acknowledge my colleagues and council members present. Councilmember Sarah Beeson has an excused absence. She's in New York. Councilmember Christine Hall. Councilmember Lee Hills. Councilmember David Johnson. Councilmember William Mortland. And for the very last time, Councilmember Michael Palermo. I'll now turn it over to our City Administrator, Mr. Randy Knighton, to explain how the meeting is run. Mr. Knighton.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. In accordance with Section Chapter 3.70 of the City Code, the City Council shall hold regular public meetings, and the mayor can call a special called mayor and council meeting as needed. The purpose of City Council meetings are for the public to participate and speak on agenda items which constitute formal decision-making by the elected body. These items are published on the agenda, which can be accessed via the city website prior to the meeting. This is a public meeting, and some items do require a formal public hearing. A significant and important component of City Council meetings are to hear directly from residents on items listed on the agenda. Public comments and questions are essential for mayor and council to incorporate as they contemplate each decision. Residents are at the top of their organizational chart, and therefore it is imperative for mayor and council to hear from residents in these meetings. If you would like to speak on an item, we ask that you fill out a comment card, which can be found at the back of the room in order to ensure an accurate record of the meeting. We ask, of course, that everyone observe the principles of mutual respect and display the appropriate demeanor during the meeting this evening, which should be and is reflective of this great community. The mayor is the presiding officer and will ensure the orderly exchange of discussion, comments, and questions leading to decisions by the elected body. We also encourage everyone in the audience and those who are viewing online to visit the city website for meetings, events, and departmental information. And if you're looking for a one-stop site for all events and activities in the city of Roswell, please visit roswell365.com. This is a community calendar for events hosted by the city, local nonprofits, businesses, civic groups, and religious organizations hosting community events in Roswell. We also encourage everyone to review and participate in the various offerings and activities which promote community, physical activity, and leisure as we all make Roswell the #1 family community in America. Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Knighton. So tonight's a very special night, special called meeting. We have some special business we're going to address, but we're also specially honoring one of our own, Councilmember Michael Palermo, at the end of his 8 years. And in doing so, we are very blessed to have Michael's priest from his church here to do our invocation and prayer. We're also honoring a very special veteran, one of our own, Jeff Littlefield, as kind of a tribute. And we also have a very special treat in the very talented Maria Desari, who's going to sing the national anthem for us. So we're all very excited about this. And all this, Mike, is kind of a way of saying thank you to you. So with that being said, I'd like to ask for the Reverend Monsignor Peter Rao from St. Peter Chanel to the front for our invocation and moment of silence.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Michael. Let us pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And Lord our God, as the Christian community pauses now to commemorate the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ, and to celebrate the 12 glorious days of the Christmas season, we ask your blessing upon this august body that stands before us today, as they continue to deliberate, to share, and to continue to watch over now this wonderful community of Roswell. We thank you for the gift that Michael has been now for this community. We thank you now for his leadership and for his wisdom and for all that he has brought now to this body. We ask your blessing now on all things, all gathered here tonight, through Christ our Lord, born in Bethlehem, raised in glory, for he is Lord forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Monsignor Rolfe from St. Peter Chanel. Thank you for being with us tonight. Wonderful, wonderful prayer and invocation. Yes. 100%. Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd like to call Corporal Jeffrey Littlefield to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Corporal Littlefield. We'll call you back here in a minute, sir, for the esteemed veteran. Thank you, sir. At this time, we have a very special person.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Maria, that's outstanding again. Thank you so much. And we need to share your information with our fellow residents. I think you have a website, don't you? So we need to share that here before the, maybe in our public announcements. We can share some of that information with, I know it's not there. We may get that from you here in a few minutes. Maria, thank you.
Blessed Trinity, right?
Yeah, and she's a senior at Blessed Trinity High School here in Roswell. Thank you so much, Maria. All right, let's see. The next item we have is we're going to do the esteemed veteran. So at this time, I'd like to ask Corporal Jeffrey Littlefield to come back up and for the council to join me down for the first item under the mayor's report, which is the reading of a proclamation for the esteemed veteran of Roswell Award to Corporal Jeffrey Littlefield, United States Marine Corps. Hey, Jamie. Congratulations to you. Or Katrina, would you guys let the folks know? There they go. Okay.
Treat, thank you.
It wouldn't fit. I love it, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Hello, sir. Like that. You're doing quite an excellent job. Proclamation, Office of the Mayor, Corporal Jeffrey Littlefield. Whereas Jeffrey Littlefield enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 1987 at the age of 17 embarking on a journey of selfless service to protect and defend the ideals upon which our great nation was founded. And whereas his dedication to duty led him through 13 weeks of rigorous boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina, followed by an additional 14 weeks of the School of Infantry in Camp Pendleton, California, honing the skills that would mark him as an outstanding member of the United States Marine Corps. Whereas Jeffrey Littlefield served as a machine gunner in Weapons Platoon, Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 8th Marines for 5.5 years at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, demonstrating unwavering commitment and exceptional skill in the defense of our nation. Whereas in 1991, Jeffrey Littlefield played a crucial role in the ground assault leading to the liberation of Kuwait during Desert Storm, showcasing extraordinary leadership as he led an M60 machine gun squad attached to the 3rd Platoon, Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 8th Marines. Whereas his commitment to international cooperation continued with a 6-month tour in the Persian Gulf, aiding in the training of the Saudi Arabian military, further strengthening diplomatic ties and enhancing global security. Whereas Jeffrey Littlefield's exceptional service and achievements include reaching the rank of corporal, earning distinctions such as rifle expert, pistol marksman, 2 meritorious Mass, Kuwaiti Liberation Medal, Saudi Liberation of Kuwait Medal, Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Southwest Asia Service Medal, Combat Action Medal, and Sea Service Deployment Ribbon. And whereas his dedication to education and self-improvement is evident through the utilization of the GI Bill to obtain a civil engineering degree from North Carolina State University, exemplifying the values of continuous growth and contributions to our society. And now, therefore, I, Kurt M. Wilson, Mayor of the City of Roswell, do hereby name Corporal Jeffrey Littlefield, esteemed veteran of Roswell, and call upon all our citizens to recognize his outstanding service to our country and our community, and that there is no higher calling than those who have served in the United States Armed Forces. Congratulations. Jeff, we all know how much you like to talk around the office. So the microphone's yours, and then we got another special little treat for you here in just a minute.
I'm not a big talker, but serving my country was a great honor. I definitely received more than I gave, and I enjoy continuing my service to the city of Roswell. It's an honor.
Wow. So, for those of you who don't know, Jeff is 57, who looks like he's 37. And Jeff is our Director of Transportation for the City of Roswell. We were lucky enough, blessed enough, incredibly fortunate enough to get Jeff to be our Director of Transportation. Came from North Carolina last year. He's been with us this year. And it has been amazing to watch your stewardship and your leadership and how you are making things happen for the city and for the Department of Transportation, and how you're cooperating with other agencies. But it's fun to watch you work, Jeff, and see your leadership. And we have a special surprise for you as the Director of Transportation. I think one of your very, very low subordinates, Dave Cox, is here. Dave?
That's my
Number one guy, David Cox. Dave?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Jeff. We just happened to find this laying around the sign shop. Figured it might be appropriate, given your military service. I did learn that Army bases are called forts, but Marine Corps bases are called camps, like Camp Lejeune, Camp Pendleton. So we thought this would be a nice little gift for his home or office.
All right, so we'll keep that. We'll keep this over here. Take some pictures. Here, you want me to hold? Show a cover-up cam. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff, let us know.
Thank you so much.
So the next item on the mayor's report is honoring Councilmember Mike Palermo, who's been on council for 8 years. This is his last mayor and council meeting, and I'd like to open it up first. We've got 3 things we want to do. First, I'm going to open it up to my colleagues for comments about Councilmember Mike Palermo. Then I will open it up to my fellow residents to make comments about Mike Palermo, and then we'll have a little brief ceremony there at the end, down at the front. So, council, I open the floor to you for any comments you'd like to make on Councilmember Palermo. Christine, would you like to start as the pro tem?
Thank you. So I have the honor of having the opportunity to work with both Mike and Marcelo Zapata. This picture was from my election night, and it truly was one of the happiest days of my professional life to be part of this group, part of a group that Mike and Marcelo started, a resident revolution, basically, 4 years prior to this, where they stood up and said, the residents need to be in charge, and the residents' vision is what is important. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be stewards of that. I'm proud to continue that with this team. I can't tell you how sad I am that Mike didn't want to do another 4 years, but he believes in term limits, and I respect that. The 3 of us certainly didn't see eye to eye all the time, and had very a good amount of spirited arguments. But in the end, we came together for what is best for the residents and what is best for the city. I remember during budget season, Mike is. I'm in finance. I mean, he works in the financial field, but he is a financial hawk. The arguments, not the arguments, but the debates and the conversations that we had, Marcelo and Mike, during the COVID years, we would set up shop on my back deck, drag out all of our laptops, so many extension cords plugged in, trying to sit 6 feet apart, following all the rules, going through line item by line item by line item on the budget, and Mike leading that charge basically as to, is this, does this make sense? How can we make this better? Mike talked about zero-based budgeting back then. It fell on deaf ears, in prior administrations, but because it is a revolutionary, it's something that isn't typically done in the public government arena, because it is hard. It's challenging and it's hard, but it has good results. So thank you, Mike. I don't think I know anybody that is more in tune with the residents and being focused and keeping that focus on the residents in every decision, in every thought, in everything that he's done in the last years. And I'm really going to miss you. Thank you.
Councilmember Mortland.
So, Mike, it's been a whirlwind of the past 2 years for me. I cannot imagine 8 years. That is a That is a high mark right there. But as I was driving to council tonight and thinking about putting together some comments and what I wanted to say and how I could really articulate this, it goes back to the first time I ever met you, and that was when one of your neighbors asked you to come and do a Cub Scout presentation to the group. And we met, and this was right after the COVID times, and so the kids were all supposed to be 6 feet apart, and we were all out in the cold weather and the fresh air, and nobody was paying attention. But you were so excited to talk to the kids about community engagement, community involvement, what it means to serve the Roswell residents. And that was the first time we had ever met. And from that, I took away, you know what? This guy, he gets it. He gets the perspective of service above self and setting the correct tone for our kids to follow. And I take that forward in many of the aspects that I look to myself and hold myself to, and that's really the foundation that you've helped build for me. These past 2 years, you have given blood, sweat, and tears for this council. You have given energy. You've given effort. It's amazing. You have made me a better council member, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Hills?
I am wearing a Santa Claus jacket to upstage the man of honor here tonight. Just want to let you know that's very intentional. I won't make this all about me, but I will lend a little perspective to what I'm going to say. I've lived here nearly 23 years in Roswell and love calling this place my home. And being in several leadership roles throughout the city at different stages of my life and us raising a family, probably 12 years ago, I started showing up at ribbon cuttings just to see. Some of it was a field trip to take the kids at the recycling center and that sort of thing. And I got to know quite a few of our council members. I've known almost all of them since we've lived here. The first couple of months that we lived here, I picked up the phone, called the mayor's office, and Jerry Wood answered, and I told him my political party, and I needed 3 reasons to vote for him, and he gave them to me. And I thought, wow, I didn't know that's how that worked. I'm from a little podunk town in Alabama. That's how it works there, but I didn't think a suburb of Atlanta would operate that way. And it was easy for me to get to know council members, not personally like hanging out and having dinner with, but just to know them in the community. And so in watching different things go on through the years, I felt like I would get close to knowing the answer of what is going on in Roswell with this thing or that thing. And then what God created me to do was raise our kids, and I got distracted and never got the answer on a lot of things. And I thought, well, one of these days I'm going to get involved enough and figure out the answer to what these things are. And so about a little less than 8 years ago, both my kids went through Roswell High School. Our kids, my husband's here. I'm not a solo parent. The ribbon cutting for the hardscrabble roundabout was taking place, and I had seen something about it, and I thought, I'm going to go. Our son had just graduated from Roswell High, and it was in the side parking lot over there. So I went. My son Rapley was with me. Saw a lot of folks that we knew through the school district, through the city, knew the mayor, knew the council members, knew the Department of Transportation director. And anyway, it was a lovely ceremony, ribbon cut, roundabout open. And as I'm leaving, my son and I are walking through the front parking lot, and let me preface this. There was so much chatter from the previous election, which is when Marcelo Zapata and Mike Palermo were elected, and it was not that different from what we've just experienced since August this year. And I don't know, I don't remember all the details, but I wasn't as plugged in. And so I saw Zapata and Palermo in the parking lot, and I went up to them and I said, I just want to say thank you, because you guys get beaten to hell in the press, and I really appreciate it. I had heard the nastiest stuff about you and about Marcelo, and I was like, these are a couple of guys I need to know. I was like, there's no way this can all be true. There's just no way. And so meeting you both in the parking lot was, I kind of had the waterfalls in my armpits meeting a council member. I didn't know you. And so I just thanked you and introduced you to Rapley, our son. And without missing a beat, you're both very genuine and down to earth, and without missing a beat, you said, Mike, to me, so while we're standing here, is there anything that you'd like to see changed in the city of Roswell? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, while we're standing here at Roswell High School, King Road between Hardscrabble and Highway 92 is murder on arrival and dismissal. If you don't have a kid, if you don't have a dog in the fight during those times, if you don't even know that's a high school, if you've graduated out of that and you're passing through, is murder going through there. And I said, there's got to be something, a turn lane to get these kids into the stadium lot, something. And that was my first introduction. And I know things have been clogged up for years for different reasons, but that's happening now. And here I am sitting in the presence of greatness, and kudos to Marcelo having played an instrumental part in the city moving forward on so many things too. But I really appreciate you staying on top of that. I know you've had quite a few runs through transportation with your direction and guidance and corrections on things that were either sitting stagnant or needed to be pushed on. And so that's my one big flagship item that we talked about in the parking lot, and now it's coming to fruition. So all the nasty things that are said about Mike, they aren't true. I mean, he's really a lot of fun and hilarious, and he and I have gone toe-to-toe about a couple of things, but that's not how it works up here. I mean, it shouldn't work in a nasty way. It should work in an honorable way and in a way that you can express yourself, and it's not secret private meetings either. It's actually open conversation like a good government should be run. And I'm proud to be part of that. I'm proud to know you, and I'm really grateful for your guidance and your support when I ran. And I promise you I'll do my very best to not Palermo it up. But no, in the best way. And I hate to see you go, but I know you're not going far. So thank you. I'm really, really grateful for all you've done.
Thank you, Lee. Councilmember Johnson?
How much time do I have?
You got
No,
it.
I'm just
You're
kidding. I don't think anyone who knows Roswell politics knows that Mike and I probably disagree on a fair amount of things, right? And I said Mike, Councilman Palermo, sorry. But I'll say this, Will talked about his 2 years, Christine's, going into year 5 now, and I'm on 2 weeks. In my 2 weeks, I've been impressed. He knows what he's talking about. We might not agree on what he's talking about, but he is a very, very good council member when it comes to the knowledge of our city and what needs to happen. So, Mike, for that, thank you. I also want to thank Melanie and Vienna, Joseph, and Lena, did I say it right? Lena, you guys put a lot of sacrifice over the last 8 years, and you deserve to be recognized. And no offense to you, you deserve to be recognized just as much as your dad does. Because I know your dad missed a lot of bedtimes. He missed a lot of games, other events, and we are thankful for him and thankful for the sacrifice that he made and that y'all made for his service.
Thank you, David. Our city administrator, Mr. Knighton.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson, and to Councilmember Palermo, on behalf of the staff and talent of the city, I want to say thank you. I have been in local government for a number of years, and very few people are as prepared and as thoughtful as you are when approaching subjects of policy. And you certainly have made us better, made me better, and made the city better. And I certainly want to thank you for your efforts and your service, and wish you the very best in your future endeavors. And I know we'll be hearing from you. I hope we do, because I think your input and the manner in which you approach issues is very beneficial for the city, and look forward to hearing from you in the future. But thank you very much for making all of us better. Thank you.
I'm going to save my comments till we walk down. And this time I'd like to open it up to any of our Roswell residents that'd like to weigh in on the matter of Councilmember Mike Palermo. I know there's some folks. There he is. Councilmember to be, Alan Sells. Welcome.
Thank you. So I, too, am disappointed you're not doing a third term, as you can imagine. We got involved in Roswell politics because Marie Wilsey was our HOA president in Horseshoe Bend. But so was Marcelo Zapata, a neighbor of mine. And so when he had to step down, we looked around, we looked for somebody who could share that vision and go forward. And I got the opportunity to work with you on that. I love his family. They're sweet people. And it's been a real blessing to get to know you guys, you in particular, Mike. And hopefully we will carry on from there, serving the Roswell residents wisely, just in being thoughtful and listening carefully like you have done and being informed. So I appreciate your service.
Thank you. Councilmember B, Ellen Sells, thank you. Who else would like to talk about Michael? Welcome. Doug, please let everybody know your name and where you live, please, sir. I know everybody will want to know it.
Doug Fernandez, citizen of Roswell since the early 80s.
Yes, you are.
Just put this down right here. One of the things that happened to me is in the early 80s, a company named Kimberly Clark moved here. And they said, synergy. I got to move here. They put me on a plane. My kid described me as unexpected. I went to a lot of different countries. One of the favorite phrases that I got to hear was thank you. So Mike, thank you. These are some of the languages that I got to hear in my many travels. U.S., we always think of quantity. Thanks a ton, thanks a million, thanks a bunch. Hawaiian, of course, is, you think of fruit. French, Spanish, Italian. The Danish and the Scandinavian countries all sound the same. Tac, 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 tac. Sort of like a machine gun. Brazil, obrigado. One of the things you hope you never hear is some of the British. Thanks, mate's fine, but you're my hero is one you don't want to hear. Hear that? The one that's probably the most special is one that I think some of the women will appreciate. It's as if you washed the dishes, cleaned the house, cleaned the bathrooms, swept the floor, vacuumed, made the beds, took the kids to school, made all the meals for a month. Japanese had an expression in Kyoto. You ever heard this? Domo ukini. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Doug. Who's next? Ah, welcome.
It's been a pleasure having my dad on city council and helping the city become a better place.
Thank you, Savannah. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I guess all we do is, my name's Jim Walsh. I live on the east side. I've been there for 20 plus years. I've known Mike about 10 years of that 20. I want to thank you for all the hard times that you had when it was you and Marcelo and Christine working on a council that was not in favor, in a lot of people's opinion, of what was going on the east side. We thank you for standing up for us. Christine, you too. And we thank you for the things that you did behind the scenes and a lot of frustration I know you had. And now that you're departing, it's a sad day, but I hope you have more in your future to come forward and do more. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, all the rest of the council. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Mr. Nagin. And I just want to say that We on the east side have appreciated everything you've done for us, everything you led, all the fights that we had. You were a big supporter of us over the Target issue. We thank you for that, and we thank you all for what you're doing. And God bless you, Mike, and God bless your family, and hope things keep going forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Janet Russell, longtime resident of Roswell. I've seen a lot of people up there in all the 50 years I've lived here. Mike, I want to thank you for your composure, your decorum, your manners, your attention to detail, and your persistence. My hat's off to you.
Council, good evening. How are you guys? Wheeled up here tonight. Grant Miller, lifelong Roswell resident, Roswell High School graduate, living off of Jones Road.
Great.
There's a limerick that I think is appropriate for tonight with Michael's service as well as Marcel Zapata's, and it goes, all the best of life is fleeting, unexpected, unrepeating. Make a person glad to find you, leave a better place behind you. And I think that we can all agree that council members Zapata and Palermo have indelibly left an impact of historic nature on our city. Both of you started out in the city a few years ago as underdogs, you know, with the cards stacked against you in terms of the election, and you overcame and you both won. And through years of policy and getting to know the residents and making change, you've had an indelible impact on your community, but you've kept true to your values and to the citizens that elected you. And that's something of integrity that very few leaders and public servants can say. That first part of that lyric, and again, you know, to the respectfully to Councilmember Zapata, with all the best of life is fleeting, unexpected, and unrepeating. We don't know how often we have on this earth, through in a job or to impact someone's life. And in your time on council, whether it was 4 years or 40 years, you've made an indelible impact, and the two of you have really tried to change the civic nature of our community for the better, whether it's parks and recreation or matters economic with small business, or preserving our city's historic charm and making sure that development is reined in. The most important piece that you guys have always made sure to stay true to was to make sure it's part of the quality of life and that it's true to its citizens. So that's something to be commended for. That middle part of that stanza, make a person glad to find you, whether it's been a resident coming up to you in a park like Councilwoman Hill's here, or someone having a neighbor in need, someone needing help with a development issue, a small business owner. You guys have always been approachable as leaders. And that last part, leave a better place behind you. You guys have sacrificed a lot to get here, all of you, and whether that's time with your children or your business or your enterprise, you've done a lot to make sure this city stays great on council. And you've left a better place behind you as fathers, with your children that you've raised, and in business and enterprise that you have tried to grow, and with this city and with this council and the entire North Fulton area. So in terms of leaving a better place behind you, you've left an entire citizenry and a city better behind you. And on this council and on this dais after tonight, you will be greatly missed. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you, sir, very much. Yes, sir.
Sharp, 8635 Steeplechase Drive. I'm here to speak for another resident that can't be here tonight, but first I just want to say thanks, Mike, for all the safeguards you put into place. And in coming to city council meetings, we've always felt that you were working for what's best for the citizens and what's best for the city of Roswell, not beholden to any developers or other special interests. Thank you for those safeguards. With that, this is for Claire Snedeker. She can't be here tonight. 765 White Hallway. She sent me a note and asked me to read this. Good evening. It seems like just yesterday we were wondering who would step forward to correct the neighborhood high density that has been ushered in by the 2014 zoning code. Imagine 10 houses an acre, and that's for anywhere in residential Roswell. Mike Palermo could imagine it, and he did something about it. With a 74% victory, you replaced the incumbent who voted in the high density, and then you got to work fixing it and doing exactly what you said you would do when you ran for office. Along with the other defenders of Roswell's residents, like Councilmember Marcelo Zapata and others to follow, to our delight, you ran for re-election in 2019 with a 61% victory. Thank you, Mike, for being a strong leader who knew that protecting our neighborhoods could be done at the same time as working to improve our commercial areas. Thank you for all the time and passion that you have invested. Thank you for being a strong defender of Roswell residents and not letting development money drive our city's zoning code or zoning decisions. You have inspired so much for so many. Thank you for planting the seeds for Roswell's bright future. We will miss you. Claire Snedeker.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Claire. Yes, ma'am.
Denise Rao, 170 Charleston Circle. I met Mike back in 2015, just as we were ready to start our municipal elections. And for those who didn't live through it, 2015 was a time of real turmoil. Not like now, which is like a little slice of heaven compared to back then. It was one night, we went to Saddle Creek, and it was a meet and greet. And I remember Mike, I know you'll find this all shocking, he got up and started talking to all the residents, and he was just a natural. And it was productive, it was friendly, he was knowledgeable. And at that point, I thought, oh my God, this kid, because he was a kid back then, I think he can win. And sure enough, he did. And the thing that I remember about that night is he talked about the fact that he grew up in a historic town in the Northeast, and so did I. And I remember him saying, and I knew it was probably, that's why he loved Roswell so much. And he's always been one of Roswell's biggest cheerleaders. And I remember in particular, he was talking and he's saying, look, I recognize that the city that I grew up in has changed since 1600, because that's the way it is in the Northeast. Our history goes back a long time. But then he said, but no one's trying to build apartment complexes on the Revolutionary War battlefields. And so that kind of brings us full circle. And so, Mike, thank you so much. You've always been true to yourself. You've been true to the residents of Roswell. And all I can say is good job, good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Lucia Frazier, 485 Hardscrabble Road. Mike, thank you so much for serving us, Roswell residents, all these years. I mean, I cannot imagine doing what you've done, and I think about, serving for that long and spending all these hours here and away from your family, and I really, really, truly thank you for that. You've always put extensive thought into all the decisions that come through here. I noticed that when we first met you, and we would come in and listen, and I was like, wow, he asks a lot of questions and a lot of details, and you would just bring up a lot of stuff that I didn't think about before. So I really appreciate all that. And you've helped create really effective solutions too. So not just being knowledgeable about the topic, but also you've come up with a lot of great ways and solutions to keep Roswell beautiful. And you've also been really great with responding to individual residents when they have questions and concerns. My family met you, I don't know if it was 2016, maybe 2017, when we had issues with our vegetable stand, and you helped us with that and helped guide us and helped come up with great solutions. So we're very appreciative, and really thank you for helping us support a farmer-friendly city, and helping us to maintain as much green space as we have, because I do believe that's priceless to maintain that green space. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Carol Williams at 210 Saddlebrook Terrace in Roswell. And back in 2015, a bright yellow sign went up directly across the street from the entrance of my subdivision. And a group of developers potentially wanted to rezone it. It's at the intersection of Crabapple and Hembry, where they wanted to tear down 9 homes and build 113. It was called Sassafras, if any of you remember that. Well, we were up in arms over that, and it just so happened to be an election year. So a group of us went and talked to existing council members to see how they felt about this project. And the answers we were getting were, oh, we're not sure, we'll have to see, and that just did not cut it with us. And enter Mike and Marcelo, and they were very citizen-focused, and they were against this project. And they did not disappoint. We were so excited to help them get elected, and just jubilation. And it has been an absolute pleasure campaigning for Mike. He ran for a second term. We were so happy about that, for supporting him. He has been an absolute, incredibly wonderful city councilman and a steadfast champion for the residents of Roswell. And all I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've been outstanding.
Thank you, Carol. Anybody else? Thank you, everyone, for your comments. That was awesome and well-deserved. And so now I'm going to ask the council, and I'm going to ask everybody from our city staff and talent to join me at the front up here. It's called a microphone. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Exactly. Y'all come on up. Come on up, everybody. You're all part of this. So, there's a lot of people that have the good fortune of serving as mayors and council members throughout the United States. And there's been a lot of people who've served as council and mayors. Just go there and look at the wall, right, in this great city's history. And there's going to be a lot more people that are going to serve over the next 180 years. But once in a while, life's really short, right? It's really, really short. Those of us get older, we recognize how short life is, right? It's a short gig. And, if you're really fortunate, you get to be one of those people that gets to make a mark. You get to make an indelible mark. You get to change things, and change things for good. And Mike, what I can say to you is you're a complicated dude, man. You're complicated, but you're a good dude. And if people get to know you, like you suffer no fools. You stand by your convictions. You fight like crazy. Come prepared. You're wicked smart. And you know what? You do the right thing. And what you've done is you've done the right thing by the city time after time after time. And Mike, I can say that if you go through the legion of people who have served this city as mayors and council, there are very few people who are going to leave the kind of mark that you've left in 8 years. And you can take that with you for the rest of your life. So I'm very proud for you have served this city in an incredible way. Thank you for your service, Mike Palermo. As a small token, we spared no expense on your cake, as you saw earlier. We had a little reception for you from 6 to 7, and we went all out, as you could see. And we emptied out the coffers of City Hall. There's no money left, just to let you know. Zero. Because we went all around the world to find the most incredible plaque with the most gold key to say, to present Mike Palermo a key to our city. Mike, this is for you, sir.
This just again tonight has been so overwhelming. Both the reception, where I was so amazed to see so many people in there, and then just all the great words I've heard tonight. Just it is such an incredible team effort we have in the city of Roswell. It has just been such an honor of just again city staff, where I've gotten so much help and support and knowledge from so many great individuals among the city for these 8 years. And just amazing to think, actually, not only is not a single department director were they in that role when I got here 8 years ago, but I don't even know if that's the case for any deputy directors in the current role, because I've seen a lot of promotions and really just a hardworking group that we have with the right, just I feel philosophy that's set by the mayor and council, and really just is what gives me so much confidence that I feel it really is a great time for the torch being handed off, that I have so much confidence in this mayor, this council, and this staff just to really continue to make improvements. And so I'm going to be still very active, look forward to the first different zoning or development type things going on, and my opportunity to get up here and speak as a resident and with residents. But I just feel so much confidence that we're going to be listened to, and that the city is going to continue to work hard for the people of Roswell to make sure that Roswell really does just continue to constantly improve and really be that #1 place to live and raise a family. So again, Mayor, thank you so much. Council, thank you so much. Staff, and of course, most importantly, really just the residents of Roswell. I could do nothing up here, this mayor and council, all of us, we could do nothing without all of you. So thank you so much for the residents of Roswell, and for some great words said earlier. Of course, so appreciative for these three that have had to go through a lot. So appreciative for Melanie, who's certainly made so much of this possible. And so I'm just in awe and appreciation for everything you all have done, and just so excited to support the city of Roswell going forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Give them that microphone. Joseph won't let it go, will you, Joseph? All right, we got some pictures. We good?
Yeah, so we can switch in. Oh, Marley, yes.
It's been an amazing journey.
I know.
There you go. Much better work being done already over there.
Good luck logging back into that.
Okay, so Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, Mike, obviously. Thank you, council. Thank you, staff and talent. The last item on the mayor's report is upcoming events announcements, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Hills, to share with us what's going on.
Yes, well, we are winding up to the crescendo of the Christmas season. So as always, when you are traveling about Roswell or just deciding what to do, please check out Roswell365.com. and you can see what we've got going on. You can also enter in things that pertain to your organization or a neighborhood thing that's open to the public. You can certainly submit things to be listed on this website as well. The Authentic Chris Kendall Market is still underway, and it runs all the way through December 24th. You can find out the hours and parking instructions on that with a shuttle on Roswell365.com. Councilmember Morthland and I visited on Sunday and enjoyed a beer. He had the biggest kebab I've ever seen in my life, and he said it was delicious. So lots of folks scurrying around on Bullock Hall grounds, and it was beautiful, beautiful day to be out. And then, as promised from earlier, our fantastic national anthem soloist, Maria. I've got her website for you if you're interested, mariaderisari.com. That's MariaDeirisarri.com. And she has a new album out entitled In the Beginning. So for more information, visit her website, MariaDeirisarri.com. She did a fantastic job, and I wish her all the best of success for her future. Delighted to have that talent here tonight.
We need to make sure we put that on Roswell 365 as well, so everybody can find her, because what a great delight to have our city.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Lee. So next is the consent agenda. Council, do you have any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Being that there are none, are there any Roswell residents who'd like to speak on the consent agenda? Bring it back to council. Any final thoughts, comments, or questions on the consent agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Hills. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Palermo. All those in favor, please raise your hands. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next is the Administration and Governance Department. Councilmember Hills, would you read your first item?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1, approval for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign an extension of the intergovernmental agreement, also known as IGA, between the city of Roswell and Fulton County for animal control services for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024.
Thanks, Lee. Mr. Knight, would you please present the item, sir?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Wilson and council. This is a proposal, extension of an agreement for Fulton County Animal Control Services in the amount of $254,840, which is about $73,000 more than anticipated. Part of the impetus for this is the $40 million new animal control shelter that was built by Fulton County and opened last month, which would allow the additional care of obviously animals, more adoptions, and also to allow them to ensure compliance with state regulations. It also would prevent things such as airborne illnesses and provide a better facility for care and adoption of animals. I will mention that some of the other North Fulton cities, I believe Milton has already passed theirs, Johns Creek did as well. It's on the agenda for Alpharetta tonight, I believe, and then Sandy Springs tomorrow. I think one of the things that that we were informed regarding this agreement is the need to have a better relationship, direct relationship with the animal control officials, and we'll certainly do that going forward. And Councilmember Hall has suggested having better relationships with partner organizations such as rescue groups, and I think we need to have those conversations and monitoring in place and better direct engagement with Fulton County going forward. And so, having said that, I think that this agreement is something that provides the services that the city does need at this time, and we'll continue to evaluate the relationship as it goes forward, ensuring that it is directed to serving Roswell residents in the highest manner. I will also mention very briefly, since our committee meeting, there was one slight change to the better of the city of Roswell. There was language previously that was received that was requested by two of the smaller cities down in South Fulton, where a resident would call the animal control facility that would then have to be routed to the police department, then back to the animal control facility. That language does not exist in this agreement. Any resident that has a concern obviously would call directly to Fulton County Animal Control, and they would respond accordingly. With that, we'd certainly recommend its passage this evening, and certainly entertain any other questions.
Thanks, Mr. Knighton. Does council have any questions or comments on the matter? Councilmember Johnson.
I know that this was a higher cost, and we were expecting for the other North Fulton cities to they also receive a higher cost than what they were expecting.
Yes, it was based on call volume.
Right.
Yes.
Would you like a detail?
No.
Okay. Prepared to give it to you if you want.
I just want to make sure that the residents of Roswell, know that this is not just specific to
That's right.
Roswell,
That's
that the
right.
cost is going up specific
Yes.
to the other North Fulton County cities.
Yes, and thank you for that
Just to give you an
clarification.
example, South Fulton is a little bit larger than us.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is a great thing, David. South Fulton, 3,509 responses, which is 20% of the jurisdiction responses. Their bill was $2,449,952.
Right.
But yes, everybody's got, the gist of it is, they built a $40 million animal control center off Fulton Industrial Boulevard. So, state of the art, it's gorgeous. For those of you who are gonna go down the Fulton Industrial Boulevard, it's beautiful. State of the art, literally, state of the art for the United States, even for the world. It's an amazing facility. Problem is, it's in Fulton Industrial Boulevard. But yes, to answer your question. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Councilmember Hills.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Knighton. I appreciate your spearheading the communication uptick with Fulton County in regard to this topic specifically. I know in committee we had a lot of, well, not a lot, but some back and forth with eyebrows raised. So I applaud having better communication there and strengthening what we know to be true for this agreement and how we can serve our Roswell residents and make sure that that's proportionate. So thank you for that, Mr. Knighton.
One of the things Christine, I think, brought up in meetings, which is a good idea, is trying to find really practical ways to find some organizations that are involved in animal care and getting them more involved to actually handle some of the needs. Because if you look at it, 365 calls is a call a day. And I will tell you, in my meeting last week with our sister mayors, David, interesting enough, Alpharetta, Johns Creek, and Milton, everybody's hot underneath the collar, right? Because they want more service, right? And this is just a big jump up in price. We understand it. And animal control is a business that nobody really wants to be in. So Fulton County's in the business. It's part of our service delivery strategy option next year when we have a discussion with them. They've made a significant capital investment. Now they're passing that capital investment off. And the reality is we don't have a choice, for lack of a better term. So I like what Christine's idea is, trying to find ways to actually bring more practical ways to take care of some of the real issues that are happening with animal control, and not just say, hey, Fulton County, it's your problem, but find ways where we use people in the city who can help solve the problem as well through some good organizations. This is a great idea. Other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Being that there are none, any Roswell residents who'd like to speak on this matter? Being that there are none, I bring it back to council for any thoughts, comments, or final questions. Thank you very much. Councilmember Hill, would you like to make a motion?
I suppose I do, sir. I motion to approve for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign an extension of the intergovernmental agreement, IGA, between the city of Roswell and Fulton County for animal control services for the period of January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
Thanks, Councilmember Hills. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Worthlin. Sorry, did you want that, Palermo, Michael? No, okay. Councilmember Worthlin, seconded.
Anybody else?
All right, we're going to put it on you, Mike. The record is going to show that you seconded this motion, just to let you know, for officially. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilmember Johnson, for being with us tonight. Yes, sir. Have a good evening. We'll miss you for the rest of the stuff. The important stuff's coming, so good timing. Thanks, David, for being with us, seriously. The next item is a Transportation Department item. Councilmember Hills, would you read your transportation item?
Yes, Mayor. Approval of the Transportation Master Plan, also known as the TMP, update.
Thanks. I believe you've got the team of Jeff Littlefield and Dave Cox coming up to do the presentation?
I think we have more than that.
Mark Dana, Transportation
Mark,
Planning
very
Manager.
sorry. Sorry, Mark.
Not a problem.
And to be clear, so when I saw you wearing the tie, I was thinking, was that to honor our veteran tonight or my last night? But now I'm seeing it was neither of us. It was just because
Both
you're
of you, yeah.
presenting. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
All above.
Yeah.
Is this the final TMP that I have with me in the packet?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is the Transportation Master Plan. Final update. You've all been involved in the process. You want to start first slide? Oh. All right. So the goal of the TMP is we want to assist Roswell in becoming the #1 family community in America. This is the 6th update since 2006. The Transportation Master Plan is a living document, so it's changed every few years. We need to go in and make some edits, add some things, remove projects we built. This is the first major update in about 8 years. It was redone cover to cover. Basically, it identifies current transportation issues, congestion, safety issues, build out in the bike ped network. We did utilize for the first time ever this year here in council, we had a subscription to some software that let us look at cell phone data for origin, destination of vehicles, see what they were doing. And we had 2 public meetings last year and 1 virtual online as well. So after all that, we came up with 191 projects. They include our annual programs are broken into 3 tiers. Our short-term tier 1 is the next 5 years, then 2 10-year periods after that. It does look at funding sources, so we looked at federal, state, local sources. Our bond and our T-Plus projects are also included in there. And this was done in-house, so similar projects we've done in the past with consultants have cost around $200,000, so this was all in-house city staff. As I mentioned, it's a living document, so nothing's in stone here. We can go back and amend it. It's just a planning document. It will require ongoing coordination with elected officials and citizens. Some projects may take multiple years to become shovel-ready. We are working on implementing the use of in-house forces for smaller projects, kind of traffic calming projects, sidewalk projects, that kind of stuff for savings. The project list came from, we have tons of plans, the North Fulton Comprehensive Transportation Plan, Bicycle Pedestrian Master Plans. We pulled those in. It's broken down into the following categories. We got our annual programs like repaving, our sidewalk program, bicycle pedestrian, bridges, maintenance. We got to keep our current infrastructure in shape. And scoring was basically a breakdown of safety and traffic. So like cut through traffic, level of service at intersections, accident rate. This kind of shows some of the that we pulled together. The one on the left is kind of a crash heat map. You can see where the hot spots in the city are. And then on the right is kind of our cut through traffic. So that's where trips start and end outside of the city. Kind of line weight's heavier. Kind of a big overview. That's all of our projects. These are the roadway ones. As you can see, there's a good spread throughout the city. And these are all of our bicycle and pedestrian projects. Next step, we hope you'll vote to approve this. There's no financial obligation from the city as far as this. Like I said, the plan was done in-house. This isn't locking you in any plans, it's just a plan. And if approved, we will Our next step will develop a plan to expedite the implementation of our Tier 1 projects, kind of come up with a list over the next 5 years of what we can build. Any questions?
Mark, thank you. Councilmember Palermo.
I just want to reiterate my comments that I had at committee. I appreciate staff and what was done here, and two big aspects that again gives me just such confidence in this mayor and council and staff leadership and really the direction that we're going, which is number one, the fact that you saved taxpayers at least $200,000 in doing it in-house, where without a doubt, years ago that would have been done through an expensive consultant. And number two is really just the Roswell resident focus, that there was certainly a time when from transportation, the focus would just be how can you make as many cars driving through as fast as possible. And I certainly have been seeing firsthand, whether it's Mr. Dana, Mr. Cox, Mr. Littlefield, the whole transportation staff, I feel, is really focused on the mayor and council focus on residents, which is also pedestrians, whether that's walking, whether that's people on bicycles, golf carts, and just safety in general, not just making it easier for more cars or cutting through or anything like that. So again, just really thank you to Mr. Knighton's leadership, this mayor and council, and certainly the entire transportation staff.
Well said, Mike. Thank you. Council, any other thoughts, comments, or questions? At this time, I will take it to any Roswell residents who'd like to weigh in on the team. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Janet Russell. Is there a provision in this master plan that says if a traffic study is more than 15 years old, we need to review the whole thing? Because we have projects on the list that by the time they begin them, the traffic study will be 20 years old. How's it like where I live on Highway 9? We've had, since the original traffic study for the historic Gateway Plan, we've had about 150 townhomes built with curb cuts to get in. Canopy's a good example. Every day, the traffic stops because someone's turning into Canopy going southbound. Every single time I get on the road. The traffic studies need to be updated before they consider any project. That's like me saying I have a dress I wore at prom and it's in my closet. Well, it might be in my closet, but I sure as hell can't get into it. It's the same thing. And this city puts so many things on the back burner for so long that they are basically irrelevant to the lifestyle, to the number of people, and to the number of cars. So I want to make sure that the Transportation Department makes it part of the policy that we need to examine and know how old these traffic studies are and the development that's occurred around it. If you live in a subdivision way out in the boonies or you're in a country club, you don't understand the effect of the traffic because you live in an isolated area. But if you live in the downtown area particularly, you would understand. This today, the Oxbow Road project, we all know that was special. There are now, when I leave my house, within 1/4 of a mile, there is a traffic light at the square. 50 feet away is another traffic light at the square. Another 100 feet is the Oxbow Road light. Another 100 feet is the Oak Street light. And then the road splits, and not one of those lights is coordinated so that the traffic backs up from Oxbow Road through all of those lights all the way down 9 in the middle of the day. We're not talking commuter time. We're talking Saturday afternoon. So those things have to be looked at so that it's more organic rather than, oh, we have a little project and it's going to work. No. Everything has to be considered organic and connected. Please. Please. It's about human beings. It's not about cars. It's called transportation. That comes from the Latin word transportare. Portare meaning to carry and trans across. Car is not mentioned in the word transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Any other comments from Roswell residents or questions? Dave, did you want to address the original question from Janet on that, which I think is a very solid question, and just kind of pick up with a macro analysis of why the TMP. This is the first TMP actually done from shoulder to shoulder, I think in 11 years, 10 years, I believe it is.
Yeah, we've done some minor updates over the years. We've kind of just basically dusted off and we remove any projects that have already been completed. And if there's major, projects that have been asked for, that have been explored by staff at the request of mayor and council, they can be added. But this is the first full-blown major update in several years that really needed to be done. Rip the Band-Aid off and get this done. And I'm really proud with our staff, Mark, Caitlin, Jeff, and support from the mayor and council too to make this happen.
Well, one of the things, just maybe address the current, the status of the map data, because you've actually got it there. You used it on your slides. For example, it's the first time we've actually analyzed cut-through traffic, just one of the many elements that we've introduced, but also is the timing. So this is ongoing timing. So I want you to address that a little bit. So like, things aren't static, I would say, anymore.
Yeah, we really were appreciative the mayor and council gave us the extra funds to get the OD data, that's origin destination data, to look at cut-through traffic. We were able to look at volumes as well. It wasn't just one type of element we looked at. It had several benefits, so we're very appreciative that we were able to use that. It really let staff roll up our sleeves and sharpen our pencils to get some better data, so it wasn't, I always get hate of being accused of garbage in, garbage out, so this was solid data that we could build our plan around. And same thing with our pavement score. That was also a tool that we got to look at our pavement, our maintenance program as well as part of this
the PCI piece. But I think Janet makes up a good point, is it's very easy to get siloed on inside of departments, inside of the city, inside of projects. And Janet duly noted, one of the things that we are working on is changing the process of how we do things in the city, which is not asking, so to your point, how one project just not impacts another project, but taking a look at it from a macro perspective. And then, not working backwards, but trying to, that's what happens a lot as you work backwards, I have discovered. So this TMP is kind of like the first iteration of a process-oriented document to start asking better questions. But thank you guys for your tremendous work on this. Any other thoughts or comments? I think it's from council. We brought it back to council. Good to go? Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Hills.
I'll just do one more round of praise. Thank you so much for all the internal work, keeping us up to speed as far as mayor and council. We've had multiple meetings with 3 of us at a time. The mayor gets the solo act a lot of times, which is great, just to comb through what you all are putting together based on your experience and your findings. And it's been a really good exercise, from sidewalks to traffic to punch list of prioritized areas to pave or work on. So it's been fun. I've learned a lot, and I believe, as I said in committee, this TMP is pretty easy to look at as an ordinary person in the city of Roswell. So thank you for all the hard work on that. I know it's millions of hours and worth more than $250,000. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I think to your point, Lee, is that fantastic that we saved $200,000 to $250,000. The real impact is the level of quality that's put into it. It's not a check. This document, which will be available on the website, among other places, is not a check-the-box document. And there's a lot of very intentional work that goes into it. It's our really first iteration, kind of a process-oriented document from my perspective, but it begins to address the kind of the macro perspective of what we're going to do with the TMP. And there are a lot of pieces that are brought into it that are real and actionable, which I'm very tickled with, and I'm very proud of the great work you guys have done. Thank you. All right, that being said, Councilmember Hills, would you like to make a motion?
I would. Motion to approve the Transportation Master Plan update.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Hills. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Palermo. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next is the City Attorney's report. City Attorney Davidson, would you please read your first item?
Thank you, Mayor. The first item I have is the approval of a resolution petitioning the local legislative delegation of the General Assembly of Georgia to introduce in the regular 2024 session local legislation to create the City of Roswell Public Facilities Authority. There are several cities throughout the state that have these authorities, and I will plagiarized from some of their content. Basically, the purpose of the authority is to create a governmental entity by which the city can, through contractual relationships, lease space for terms over 1 year. As you know, the city is limited by the Constitution and by the laws of Georgia to 1 year lease terms if we are paying lease on any facility with a private entity. However, if we enter into a intergovernmental contract, we can contract for up to 40 years. By doing this, the authority would be able to take the rent money and pledge it to issue bonds and construct public facilities that the city might be in need of. This did not go to committee. It did not go to committee because we need it to be enacted by the legislature as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Does council have any comments, thoughts, or questions for Mr. Davidson? Councilmember Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. So I definitely have experienced the challenge when it's something to be enacted by the legislature, so definitely understand with the timing for that. So that's my first comment. Secondly is just given in reality the fact that ultimately the strong majority of the authority would be individuals that are accountable to the residents of Roswell, since it's the mayor and the council. In reality, it's just opening up a tool, and so that's something I certainly support as well, because we've certainly seen situations over the years where you might have a committee or authority or whatnot that are not accountable to the residents of Roswell, and that doesn't necessarily lead to the best decision-making for Roswell residents. So definitely with this, just being that ultimately mayor and council having to publicly make any decisions, I think it's a good thing to just give that additional tool.
Thank you, Councilmember Palermo. Well said. Other thoughts, comments, Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, this is very exciting. It just goes to show the intentionality of this mayor and council as far as economic development, real economic development for the residents, for the benefit of the entire city. So very excited to move this downtown.
Thank you, Pro Tem and Councilmember Hall. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Thank you. At this time, I'll take it to any Roswell residents who'd like to weigh in on the matter. Being that there are none, I bring it back to council for any final closing comments, thoughts, or questions. Being that there are none, I will ask for a motion. Motion from Councilmember Hall. Would you make the motion, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Motion to approve item number 3, approval of a resolution petitioning the local legislative delegation to the General Assembly of Georgia to introduce in the regular 2024 session local legislation to create the City of Roswell Public Facilities Authority.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Hills. All in favor of the item, please raise your hands. Item passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Davidson.
Thank you.
Mr. Davidson, would you read your last item under the city attorney's report, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. The final item I have is a recommendation for closure to discuss personnel litigation and real estate.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion for closure?
Move for closure.
Motion for closure from Councilmember Palermo. Do I have a second? Seconded from Councilmember Hills. All in favor of closure, please raise your hands. Motion for closure passes unanimously. Yes, sir? Thank you very much. Oh, my gosh. You want Mike to be guest? We'll do that. All right, Michael, being that there are no other items, this special called mayor and council meeting of December 8, 2023 is adjourned. Would you please gavel us out?
It would be an honor. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you for everybody that stayed through the whole meeting. This meeting is adjourned.
All right. Closure.